Okay, Thomas Tennis here again with another fabulous video on a couple of things I want to go over on the two-handed backhand. So number one is, on an earlier video I discussed dipping your shoulder, keeping your shoulder down. What this does is it keeps your weight into the shot. The really good two-handed backhand professional tennis players use their body to increase either the spin or the compression into the ball. So what they'll do is they'll put their weight really into the shot as they're hitting, which increases compression. Or the other one is they'll use this leg to come up as they're hitting, and that also increases the spin on the ball. So you'll see me either kind of coming up as they make contact or going forward as they make contact, depending if they want to hit it harder this way or they want more spin. And what you never want to do is see somebody pulling off. This is very detrimental to hitting a good two-handed backhand. So that's point number one. Point number two is the path of your hands. When you have two hands on a two-handed backhand, the two hands tend to fight for control of the head, and it's kind of a natural thing. Your right hand wants to do one thing, your left hand wants to do something else, and you wind up with a flippy looking, pushy, flippy shot, terrible shot. So what your hands should do is, and I'm going to put the racket down like this, your hands should make a path of two concentric circles. If you look at my hands, and the racket's down now, not out this way, but if you notice, my hands are making two concentric circles. So the path of your hand should be two concentric circles coming around this way. You don't want one hand going out in front of the other one like this, or you wind up with a real weak shot like this, or too much left hand will flip it around like this. You want two concentric circles. So if you'll recall, I discussed compressing the arc. So when you bring your racket, drop your racket down, you're going to come forward a ways like this before your arc starts. Most people want to start their arc back here and come around like this. That's another deadly move. If you start your arc back here, you're going to be too far forward, and you get here and you're going to have to back your racket up, okay? The other thing compressing the arc does and bringing your racket forward like this is it compresses the arc down, so it means you have less time to get your racket from here to here, which means it has to go faster. So if you start your arc back here, let's say you have 1 second to get it from here to here, maybe your racket will go 30 miles an hour. But if you compress the arc and bring it here, now my racket's going to have to go twice as fast to get to there. So you will get let's say a 60 mile an hour racket head speed. So compress the arc by bringing the racket here, and now start the arc here. But you want two concentric circles with your hands, like that, okay? So I have put a little drawing on here. You can see what I'm talking about, but your hands go around then there'll be two concentric circles, almost as if they're a single hand together, working together, okay? But as soon as your hands start doing funny things and they're not working together, you're dead. So I've got a couple of pros here. I'm going to show you what it looks like when they do it. One is Rublev, and the other, who uses a whole lot of weight usually on his two-handed backhand, almost too much, but he uses a lot of forward weight when he's hitting the ball. And the other one is Del Potro, and both of these guys, you'll see that they have a perfect, they drop their racket to here, and now they come around with two concentric circle pathways of their hands. So so here we go. Okay, here's Del Potro. Notice that he brings his racket well forward before he starts his arc. He doesn't start the arc in the very back swing. Watch how far he comes forward before he starts his arc. And now when he starts his arc, watch his hands go around in two concentric arcs. His hands are working together almost as if they're one hand on the racket, but he has two perfect concentric arcs there. Okay, here's a diagram of what I'm talking about. Notice how the straight line in the back denotes how the racket comes forward first before the arc begins. You do not begin the arc on the very back of the backswing. And now we have the hands form two concentric arcs. They're working exactly together. And these are the arcs that you want your hands to perform. Okay, here's Del Potro again, bringing his racket forward. Then he begins his arc, and they are two concentric arcs. Okay, here's Rublev doing the same thing. See how his hands work in two perfectly concentric arcs after he brings the racket forward. Okay, in this clip, Rublev, watch how his right leg stands up and his head goes up as he's hitting the ball. This improves his spin. Okay, the white line is his golden mean. Notice how it goes into the ball at about 20 degrees, and at contact it goes up 40. Ball goes out at about 10 degrees. Okay, the red and the blue lines denote how much he stands up and comes up during contact, and his body is helping him really increase the amount of spin and compression on the ball. Now here's an incredible example of Rublev really getting his weight into the ball, into the shot. This is pretty atypical, but it will give you an idea of how much pros rely on the weight of their body to increase the compression on the ball and the spin. But look how forward he moves as he's hitting the ball. I mean, it's really pretty incredible in this shot. He's just reaching and stretching forward. Here are the three key positions: racket back, contact, and racket forward. But he really moves forward on this shot.